And particularly Muslim women do not need to study or go to work. I have even restricted my wife from doing certain things, and I also did not want her to study further. But then I realized that she has the right to decide her future and choose her career, and that I should not interfere in these decisions.
The WDP team prepared activities and sessions to bring out the relevant concepts and specifically focused on men's engagement and the roles of men in addressing gender-based violence.
Wherever I go and in my family atmosphere, I try to see things through a gender lens. This change didn't happen overnight. It happened over a long period of 2 years. But now, as a result of that, I'm able to influence many wherever I go, be it out on the field or when staying in a hotel. While talking to the three-wheel driver while traveling or to the owner of the hotel where I stay, I can question them and help them understand gender-based violence. If I stay over at a hotel and I feel there is some form of discrimination to women happening there, I would go to the extent of directly speaking to the manager or owner and question them about it. I do this with a newfound sense of confidence.
The team is also prepped for counter-arguments, especially from men who question trainers and reiterate patriarchal notions.
මේ වෙනසට තව සුවිශේෂී දායකත්වයක් දක්වපු කීප දෙනෙක් තමයි මගේ
My wife and my mother-in-law have given me the opportunity to practice this way of thinking, because very often many women themselves don't let men cultivate this way of thinking.
අවස්ථාව දෙන්නේ නැති වෙලාවල් තියෙනවා කාන්තාවන් විසින්ම හේතුව අපි උදාහරණයක් විදිහට ගත්තොත් මම
If I engage in some domestic work or I wash a plate or wash some clothes, they used to say, "No, don't do it," or "Don't let him do it."
ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ නෑ නෑ ඔයා ඉන්න මේක අපේ වැඩක් අපි කරන්න.
They used to think that these were their tasks, but this attitude I was later able to change, and this gave way to them understanding and accepting my personal change.
ගැන ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒ වෙනසට ඒගොල්ලෝගෙන් ඉඩ ලබා ගත්තා. පස්සේ කාලෙක ඒගොල්ලෝ මට මගේ වෙනසට ඉඩ දුන්නා.
එයා ගෙදර එන වෙලාවට
When he comes home, he takes over looking after our daughter, even putting her to sleep, during which time I'm free to pursue something else.
He has taken more interest in the home affairs. He looks into his wife's needs. Whatever the situation, they always discuss it together and reach a mutual decision.
Earlier, he used to change cars all on his own. But later, he would take me along. Even if he wasn't able to take me, he would point out something similar on the road, or he would still take a picture and ask my views on whether he should get it or not. He'll somehow try to take me along and show it.
My wife and I, we were without a child for a long time before we got our daughter. By the time she was born, I had gotten the necessary knowledge and understanding of gender-based violence, and I knew that females are subjected to various forms of violence, even from birth.
කාන්තාවක් වීම නිසාම ඉපදෙන්නට පෙර ඉඳලා කාන්තාවක් විවිධ අතවර වලට හිංසන වලට සහ ප්‍රචණ්ඩත්වයන් වලට ලක් වෙනවා කියලා. මේ දැනුම හරහා
The one who will reap the benefits from this understanding is my daughter. As a result of my change, she is living proof of a gender-sensitive home.
පෙර සිට කුස තුල සිට අද දක්වා ඇයට කිසිම කාන්තාවක් වීම නිසාම මේ ස්ත්‍රී පුරුෂ සමාජභාවීය ප්‍රචණ්ඩත්වයකට හෝ හිංසනයකට ලක් වෙන්න මම ඉඩ දීලා නැහැ. මම මේ
From her birth, she has not been subjected to discrimination or violence for being a girl, and not only in the physical form like hitting or hurting, but even any other form like verbal, financial, or emotional abuse.
මගේ බිරිඳට මේ මගේ වෙනස හරහා දැන් බොහොම සුබවාදී පරිසරයක් නිර්මාණය වෙලා තියෙනවා නිදහසේ ජීවත් වෙන්න. අනිත් එක තමයි මට පොඩි ගැටලුවක් තියෙන්නේ.
However, my concern is that despite this, I'm not able to control the context and situation outside my home. When my daughter goes out into the world, just like many other daughters, she will face gender-based violence. If this is not addressed in society, it will keep occurring. That's what prompts me to reach out and help create a similar sensitive environment for her in society.
ඒ සියලුම දෙනාට ශරීරන මේ සුබවාදී පරිසරයක් ගොඩනගා ගන්න නම් සමාජය වෙනස් කර ගන්න ඕනේ කියන එක.
ඔව් මම අධිකරණ අමාත්‍යාංශයේ යටතේ තියෙන සමත මණ්ඩල පුහුණු කරන ඒකේ
I work as a trainer for training mediators of community mediation boards under the Ministry of Justice.
පුරුෂ සමාජභාවය සම්බන්ධව
Many gender-based violence issues that occur in the community most often come before the community mediation boards. What should a mediator consider when mediating these issues? That is our main concern.
පිළිබඳව සැලකිලිමත් වෙන්න ඕනි කියන එක.
If gender-based violence can be eliminated, then within a family, the atmosphere betters. There is more love and care. The father has more of an understanding and a better recognition from not only his wife and family, but also the society at large.
නැත්නම් ස්වාම පුරුෂයාටත් හොඳ ආදරයක් සැලකිල්ලක් තමන්ගේ දරුවන්ගෙන් බිරිඳගෙන් සමාජයෙන් ලැබෙනවා.
நான் ஜான் மாவட்டத்தின் தேசிய சிறுவர் பாதுகாப்பு அதிகார சபையின் யாழ் மாவட்ட உள சமூக
I am currently working as Jaffna District Coordinator for National Child Protection Authority and visiting lecturer to the University of Jaffna on psychology. My duties include working with women and children. When we work with women and children at the field level, knowledge of gender issues is compulsory.
வேலை செய்ய இந்த பாலியலை பற்றியதான ஒரு அறிவு வந்து எங்களுக்கு கட்டாயம் தேவையா இருக்குது.
Since 2010, we have been doing a special project together with the WDP on addressing violence faced by the lesbian and bisexual women in Sri Lanka. And my responsibilities were to train the community women and on the issues on gender-based violence faced by particularly the lesbian and bisexual women in Sri Lanka. And my main strategy was to speak the gender-based violence and the violence against women from the men's perspective. The environment at Equal Ground, it really helped me. Like, we don't discriminate people based on their gender or gender identity or sexual orientation and all. And I always experience the social justice at this organization. So it's really helped me to change my behaviors and attitudes and all.
While there are significant opportunities for working with men and boys in addressing gender-based violence, questions and challenges exist as well. Are the individual changes that take place within households, such as sharing of domestic responsibilities and childcare, enough to change the power imbalance between men and women? How, and at what level, is it contributing towards gender equality and elimination of gender-based violence overall? To what extent can the sensitivity and commitment of men towards gender equality and against gender-based violence, especially outside the professional framework of working on project initiatives, be gauged? How many men are comfortable with being identified as activists in addressing gender-based violence, in anticipation of the negative reaction they may get from peers and society at large? It is difficult for men to get out of that mentality that women need to be protected and to think beyond relating women to members of their family, such as a mother, sister, wife, or daughter, as opposed to an independent individual. The contradiction, especially in the Sri Lankan context, is that reports of incest and domestic violence are very high, and thus this relational approach may not be effective. Feminists debate about defining and applying concepts such as positive masculinity in addressing gender-based violence. This indicates need for further discussion, clarity, and understanding initiated by practitioners working in the field.
Instead of thinking that one's perspective is the only right perspective, we should question and re-examine our ideas and views and then decide if we are thinking correctly.
There is need for long-term and wider dialogue and discussion about the issue.
Many men would go on committing the same mistake without knowing that it's actually wrong. So I think if the awareness level is kept at a high, that might help eradicate it for good in the years to come.
A group of young men with more understanding and knowledge about gender-based violence has been mobilized and are on the road to becoming sensitive, committed individuals against gender-based violence and for gender equality. Some of them have undergone personal changes of attitudes and behaviors and have even undertaken intervention and bystander actions against gender-based violence in their lives and work.
Given the opportunity, and if there is support from every level including the state, we youth can do a lot on this issue. So I think if everyone, including the government and the general public, get together, we can eradicate gender-based violence.
See, since the problem actually starts with a man, you could probably be the first man to take a stance to stop whatever you're doing wrong. That would be the first step. And then maybe, telling someone else to stop, maybe a friend or a relative or a sibling. So as long as you as a man take that first initiative, I think that can be the first step in order to eradicate the problem.
It all starts with a simple shift in perspective.